Hi, you. It's me, Nicole Phoenix Star, and this is the Nick Star podcast. Today, I am talking about the subject line, which is worry is an option. And I have been in deep practice of this the last couple of weeks. I did mention in my previous podcast to this one that there'd been a lot going on in my life and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of unknown, which can offer up the opportunity of worry. And, worry is something that we do when we don't know what's in front of us, which, of course, is a grand illusion because the most random things always happen, and anything we think that's going to happen next rarely does. And so it's quite fascinating that as a species, we like to think that we would like to feel like we are in control, or that we have some knowing about what's next, or that we can feel safe and secure by certain things outside of us. And then something comes along and turns our life upside down, turns us inside out, flips us on our butt, and we are forced to navigate that. And so we can navigate it from that place of worry because what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? Da, 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 da. And it's like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. How life works is it's a consequence of everything that's ever happened turns into the next moment. And so there is this kind of understanding that there is this cosmic consequence, and it's not either good or bad. It is just what is. And leaning into that really can allow us the spaciousness to trust the process and know that, life is always happening for us. It's not happening to us. And learn to enjoy the ride. So I've been playing in these portals of potentiality quite intentionally and with very conscious awareness, because I realize that there are, kind of several options in front of me of how things can unfold, and there are pieces that need to land that would kind of just determine the cadence of the journey, and that ebb and flow, no matter how kind of rocky or comfortable, is what it is. And so I decided to look at these portals of potentiality, like sensory experiences. There's like those art shows where you go into like a Van Gogh show and all of the walls are flowers and there's light moving it all, and there's music, and there may be even wind, and there's things to read, and it's this whole sensory experience. So, it's pretty clear that there was these multiple options in front of me. And so I entered each one with intentionality to see how it felt, to see how the senses felt in there. And so I walked into the imaginary room in my mind's eye of, what it felt like if this is the unfolding. And I went in and I kind of looked around at everything and picked up all the, metaphorical pieces and allowed myself to experience them rather than worry about them or try and work them out or anything like that. And then I'd kind of step back into the endless infinite corridor and step into the next portal of potentiality, sensory room of another option that may line up. And I went in and kind of looked around at what was in the option and picked up the aspects of that in my mind's eye to really look at and have a sensory experience. Because if we're able to use our senses rather than our mind, it's a completely different reality. It's just such a profound experience. And I just kept going and experiencing, the options that were being presented to me as a series of events. And, there was certain sensory rooms that I went into that I gained insight. And so then I would follow the energy with action steps and, go and research that or go and find some information around what that actually is in real terms. And it just kept taking me on this wild, wild journey across the portals of potentiality of the moment of life, and to be able to spend that time not sitting there and worrying what might happen, rather than just allowing myself to experience the possibility of that thing happening or that thing happening or that thing happening, and really creating this ideal picture of what the garden would look like from all the seeds that I've planted over the last couple of years. Because I could see that these polar potentialities were being presented to me because I'd planted seeds on my rite of passage at 50. And they were presenting ways that could be played out. And even, during my menopause rite of passage that I took myself through, I could see, the fruits of that labor, of those intentions I'd set, trying to come to life through lived experience in ways that I hadn't considered. And rather than spending my time worrying about what might happen, I explored all of the possibilities and fell into this whole cornucopia of potentiality. And I just kept getting pulled into different alignments, and then something would click in, and then the next piece would come along and that would click in. And, there's all these other pieces that I'm like waiting to click in, and I just need to be patient to allow it to unfold organically by itself, to show me the way. And, there's so many times that life has done this to me, and I've, not been so conscious or intentional with it. And life always changes, always. And we as this species spend so much time worrying about it. Yet the only thing that is ever constant is change. It's so weird how our minds think. And all of these little aspects that I've kind of wished for or even daydreamed about at various times in my life, like just kind of popped into this experience I've been in. It's like, I don't know, it's just so fascinating watching life trying to manifest in front of you from all the pieces coming together and how they look. Because it never, ever, 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 ever looks the way we think it will, or the way we think we want it to look. And it always, always lines up in the way we need. And then we arrive at the window of hindsight and it all makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then, it's because we are bypassing it and labeling it as a difficult time or a challenging time or something I don't want to think about ever again, or something just happened, and really missing the great wisdom that can come from it and the growth. So, yeah, it's such a huge practice to, let go and let God, whatever the version of God is for you. And for me, it's, just the wholeness of consciousness in this like extraordinary cosmic dance where the butterfly wings create a tsunami. It's just like every little atom and cluster of energy just aligns for the human lived experience. And it's actually incredibly extraordinary when you look at it that way. Like, there are no bad options. And someone said that to me, like, there are no bad options. I'm like, I know. Even if, someone else thinks it looks like a bad option, if you burrow in deep enough into the pool of potentiality, there's always gold, so much gold, infinite treasure. It is such a wild experience, this human life. Like, we fumble around and spend so much time worrying about it and not truly living every second in its fullest capacity. And it's not about living it full out, like, being an adrenaline junkie or whatever, to be able to live each moment fully. And even if that is like sitting in silence, to do that fully, or even, watching Netflix, do it fully. When you're eating food, it's like spending time worrying is such a complete and utter waste of time. It's just a loop, because nothing is ever achieved in a state of worry, ever. It's just a loop, and all it is a loop of suffering that perpetuates and can compound into elevated worry which then can lead to all sorts of things, anxiety, primarily, amongst other things. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet because that's all I got for now. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful. If there's anyone you think that may benefit from this, please feel free to share it. My website is www.nickstar.com. Nikstar. Thank you.